What's going on, traders? In this video, we're going to go over today's price action. We are currently looking at ES, and we are looking at the 2000 tick chart, which is similar to the 1 minute. And the only other indicator I use is the 21 EMA. Now, as you can see, we have a nice uptrend working higher and higher. And as you can also see, if you zoom out, it's a continuation of yesterday's uptrend. So I drew a nice uptrend. I aligned it geometrically with the candles. And as you can see, we have a nice uptrend in play. And according to price line rules or price action rules, as long as we are within this channel, we are looking to only go long. Now, let's say hypothetically we broke out of this channel and then we made a new high, then for the time being, we're going to pause looking to go long, and we're just going to wait to either see a continuation or a reversal. And if that happens, that's usually when you expect a trend or a reversal. But for this example, we have a nice uptrend working higher and higher, so we're only thinking long. Now, as you can see here, this was an entry that I took, and counting from this high, we have a new high, first entry long, pull back, and then we have a second entry long here. And this right here, it's actually a double trap. I labeled it high or low when I was making this real quick, but it's actually a double trap because it is below the second entry and it's trapping all the early sellers who tried shorting, right? So the bears got trapped and the bulls pushed price higher. So as you can see, counting from this uptrend, we had a small little correction. And guys, remember, you have to wait for the correction to play out. We had a break, we had a new low for the mini correction, and we had this nice double trap. Now, while I was in this trade, it did take some time and it started going sideways. Now, usually I never go break even on a trade. It's just one of my rules. But once I saw we started getting into this tight range, this is an area where now you're hoping and looking for luck, right? There's no edge as far as looking or technically seeing the market pushing higher. No, when it's going into a trend, it's almost like a ping pong game where price is going to stay within this range. And usually what happens is you can either have a breakout out of it or you can push lower and have a failed breakout. Now, when you're in a long position and it does test a breakout, and let's say it was a failed breakout, we're going to get stopped out. So that's the reason why I ended up going break even on it. As you can see, I entered here and then I just set a break even once I saw it reject at this resistance. But hypothetically, if I did stay into the trade, it would have been a winning trade because my stop loss goes about a quarter under here, and it never reached it, as you can see. So this would have been a winning trade, but I saw it and logically I told myself, let's go break even and on to the next trade. So as you can see, we just kept pushing higher and higher. And this area right here was another area where I took a long position. Counting from the recent high, we have a new high, first entry long. We pulled back and we had a second entry long right here. And this was super clean. The mini downtrend got its low, and we have a very strong A1 second entry touching the EMA, pushing back up and closing very strong. And as you can see during this whole trade, we remained above the EMA. So that was great. It gave me confidence, and slowly but surely, we ended up hitting our profit. During this time, I did take a break because I did take two trades, one break even, one win, and I told myself, let me give myself a break, maybe go get some coffee or a snack. It's good to give yourself a break, especially when you're staring at charts for a long time, so you can just reset. But as you can see, this uptrend was still intact even as I was taking these trades. And right here was the significant break. Once we had a break of the trend line, we expect prices to test the new high, but after that, that's where you have to pause and expect a consolidation or reversal. So looking at it now, there was no other entry. We only had, counting from this high, a first entry long, pullback, second entry long that formed below EMA, and then we went ahead and we made a new high. So now that we made a new high, we can expect either a consolidation or a reversal. But um, especially for people who are a little bit more experienced, you can tell once the market is this strong and you have such a strong bullish momentum and channel, you're most likely not going to reverse down, right? So once we had a break in a new high, prices just slowed down a bit, and then we had a nice spike in a channel. Now, for this spike in a channel, I drew it like this for one reason, and reason being is usually I will draw it a little bit more wider, especially because we never touch the EMA. It's like one seamless leg. But as you can see, we started going a little sideways, right? So it did, once I zoomed out a little more, it didn't look like one seamless leg. It looked like it was a nice steep move. We kind of started going sideways and then we pushed up and made a new high. So for any of you guys who drew it steep, I think this is the best alternative, right? And let's say you did draw it steep, right? And you're waiting for a new high to be made. The issue with that, and of course it doesn't even look good or align with the trend candles, right? If you did and you went ahead and you did draw it wider, you would have lost on the second entry here. Um, and then if you also took this trade, it would have been a winning trade, but you would have definitely took a loss. And it just makes sense. So always when you draw your channels, at first draw them tight. And if you see a little bit, even a small broad break followed by a higher push, just count it as a new high and wait. So over here, this is an area of development. So every uptrend played out. And as you can see, I drew with both of these green lines a nice range. You could even draw it a little lower, right? So you can start it here, and as you can see, we have a bounce here and we have a bounce here. Um, Now the way I like playing ranges is I like to wait for it to get confirmed. So as you can see, we touch down here, we touch the top of the resistance, so it's confirmed. It's pretty healthy, right? Since the bias is bullish and we traded up all day, I like to only think bullish. So what you can do, or what I like to do, is once you have it established, right, and it's confirmed, look for a failed breakout. A failed breakout is when price breaks under the range, so under the support, and it fails. So as you can see here, we broke under the support, we failed strongly, and we pushed above EMA. And we have a nice uptrend in play. Now, I like seeing a strong slice through the EMA. That just indicates that the reversal is successful and you're anticipating on a correction of the uptrend. Now, when it starts kind of stacking at the EMA gets in the middle of the candles, this could be an indicator that we might have some chop and the buyers aren't as present and strong as we anticipated for them to be. So we can draw it wider because even if I draw the first leg like this short, if you go ahead and copy it, this second leg is much larger than the previous one. So you can, once you see that, you could always draw a wider channel. So over here, we can draw a wider channel. And as you can see, we had a break and a new high. Like I said, don't draw it seamless because once you do have some broad price action. And even if we did draw it a little wider like this, we had a break here, new high. So everything's playing out right now. I'm still waiting. Once everything plays out, you just want more information before you jump and you start looking for more trades. So we had a nice spike down with a little bit of overshoot. Overshoot meaning it's overselling, similar to the RSI indicator, but without the RSI, I use my trend lines to tell me. And once you see overshoot, you expect price to either um, strongly reverse or have a longer correction. But mind you, again, zoom out. We traded up the whole day. We're not expecting a reversal really, unless the market shows us otherwise. So if you're more aggressive, you can play the short position. I really wasn't a fan of it. Just because, like I said, we traded up all day. We have very strong uptrend in play. I think we pushed higher than or above 80 points. Once you see that, you really want to see a strong correction where there's so much momentum, not a little channel like this. So if you want, you can look for a short position. I just avoid it. especially when you have such a strong continuation. Regardless, there was not really any other setup to take a short since um, counting from this low, we have a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short here, but it's above EMA. Then we finally pushed under EMA. I would usually look for a lower high, a candle that triggers higher than the previous candle, closing under. This didn't. It's the same exact, yeah, it's the same level as the previous candle. And as you can see, we didn't even test the low. That's how you know when you're in a strong market to avoid shorting unless proven otherwise. Then we had a nice, healthy uh, push, spike, seamless leg up above EMA. This is an area where you can look to take a long. Um, so counting from here, we have a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. A lot of you guys, especially beginners, might have got trapped here. Now, what do you guys see wrong? Well, as you can see, we have three big candles pushing under EMA, closing under, and when you see this, this is a very strong indicator that the bears are in control now, and this is an area where you want to wait out. You want to see a push higher above EMA in a higher low to form. Um, one of the rules, and it also depends on the certain structure we're trading, but for any beginner, if you're looking to go long and you see a pushback above EMA and you're looking for the second entry long, if you see two strong closes below the EMA, just think of it as, let me pause, let me see more information and not take the second entry long. Although it was tempting, it was a big bar, it engulfed the previous one. Still, when I see a strong push down like this, um, I like to wait for more confirmation. And that's the great thing about high or low confirmation. It's just, if there's something wrong with the second entry, you can always take the higher low. And this would have been a great higher low if it pushed above EMA. It was below it. So this isn't an area where you want to enter. And now the market closed around this time. It's already late, around 3:40. Um, so yeah, it was a good day. I had two trades. If I stayed in the first trade I was in, it would have been a win, but it's at this point when you have some market experience and you realize, okay, we're turning into a range. Why risk losing, especially in the beginning of the market day, when at this point we're hoping and where it becomes wishful thinking instead of having an edge and using price action and relying on your entries. Um, but yeah, it definitely worked out. I was looking, well, after I went break even here, when you're in a trend like this or a range, what you want to see is two things. You want to see price break out of the resistance, pull back to the EMA with a higher low confirmation, or you can wait for price to break under the support. We call it a failed breakout. I spoke about it early in the video. And then we can wait for a push above EMA with a higher low. And a higher low, something like this candle here, a candle that triggers lower than the previous one and has a nice strong close above EMA. But none of that happened here, and we just had a continuation. And then the second trade, I think this was the highlight trade of the day. um it was a nice second entry long, two leg pullback, respecting EMA. The EMA is your friend. Once you see price completely hold at the EMA, not breaking under it, this just shows that buyers are in control, and it's definitely a great confirmation tool to use, right? So that was it for the day, and yeah, great day. If any of you guys are new here and some of the stuff might sound like rocket science to you, I did make a playlist which is uh, 3 or 4 videos I made for beginners explaining the second entry longs, which is our entry model, and the basics, fundamentals of my strategy and price action and how to use it. So if you guys are new, definitely check that out. I will be posting every other day um, of the market and the structure we are trading. So I'll see you guys later. Bye for now.